Hi students, I wanted to make you a quick video here to help you get ready for the EKG midterm on Monday. So if you go to your modules, scroll all the way down, kind of near the bottom actually, which is fitting because we're almost near the end, right? You're going to find EKG final exam module. Okay, so open that up and we'll show you what we've got in there. So first is my YouTube channel playlists. And so I have a playlist here for MA 135. And you can view everything here. You can play all of them. Hopefully these are all ones that you've seen a little bit already. Let's see. And reviewing them would be a really good idea. Okay, so I bet you it would probably take you about an hour. Let's see if it'll tell me.
The heart.
There's 18 of them. It doesn't say. I bet about an hour. Okay, so that's your first option. Let's go back to our module here. Your other choices are the Kahoots, and these are the self-directed challenges. Okay, so there's 5 of them. And so there should be one for each module that we've looked at since the midterm, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So taking these is your really, really best bet for checking yourself and making sure that you're understanding the concepts from each of these 5 modules here. Okay, so the final exam is only going to include content from module 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 for EKG. So here are your Kahoots for those. I highly recommend that you go in and play them, okay? Challenge yourself. And you can do it over and over, right? As many times as you want. Usually they're each about 25 questions. And so you can see the correct answers. And these are directly correlational to questions on the final exam. Okay. And then finally we have the PowerPoint that I put together, study guide for the review. Okay. So I recommend, if you have a printer, to print it out or at least download it so you can make notes on it in Word or whatever processing software you're using. Okay, because the way I designed this is basically I left a lot of room here for you to mark it up yourself. Okay, so you want to review each of these concepts, and then a lot of them I pose them just as questions. So you're going to answer the questions, okay? And just put it in your own words. That's how you solidify your understanding of the concepts. Okay, so just work your way through this study guide, mark it up, write in it, type in it, whatever works best for you, okay? And put any acronyms that you might have or anything, any kind of mnemonics or anything that might help you remember these items. You know, I tried to put some of them in for you, like for repolarization, repolarization equals relaxed, but add any other ones that might work for you. Okay, so just work your way through this. Make sure you know all of these concepts. Make sure you know what's happening in the heart, okay, during atrial diastole and systole and ventricular diastole and systole. Make sure you know what's the pacemaker, what's the gatekeeper, what are the characteristics of cardiac cells. Make sure you know all the 5 steps in the conduction pathway, right, and know them in order. Okay, so starting at the top of the heart all the way down to the bottom and around, and where each step takes place in the heart. Review the polarity. Make sure you know the intrinsic rates of those structures in the conduction pathway. Make sure you know how much time a small block on the EKG paper equals, how much a large block is. So how much time would 5 large blocks and 25 small blocks be? And how the time and voltage is expressed on the EKG paper. So basically the vertical axis and the horizontal axis on the paper. Review the standard calibration on the EKG machine. All right, so we have the standardization mark, and then the speed. So those are always at the bottom of your EKG tracing. And then the filter, just review what the filtering is for. Make sure you know what the baseline is, what a deflection is, and a segment and an interval in the waveforms. So I recommend that you write out the definitions of those, or at least what helps you remember what the definition is, so that you can continue to kind of refer to this all weekend long as you're studying. Okay. It's really important that you know what is actually happening structurally in the heart during each part of the waveform. Okay, so it's really easy to look at the tracing on the EKG and say, there's the P, there's the QRS, there's the T. But what does that actually mean when you're looking at that? What's happening in the patient's heart at that exact P wave, at that exact moment? What does it mean? Okay, so try and think about it in the bigger picture, right? And then same with the intervals and the complex. So if you put all of these individual events kind of together into an interval, a segment, or a complex, what does that mean collectively that the heart is doing mechanically? And here I pretty much put it here for you. So make sure you can really picture that. And those YouTube videos will help. Okay, so you can kind of line it up with the video and then the tracing. Okay, these should be pretty easy. You should know what your normal heart rate, vital sign is. And then do a little review on the pacemakers, just really simple, basic information on the pacemakers. Do a little review of your rhythms, right? Your sinus rhythms. Okay. Spend some time reviewing the heart rate calculations. Okay, so the different methods for calculating. And then make sure you know which is the fastest, which is the least accurate, which is the most accurate, and which ones can or cannot be used for regular or irregular rhythms. Okay, there's your 6-second one, a little cheat sheet for that one. Make sure you can define all of these concepts here, and you know exactly what they mean and what they are. So maybe type it in here, write it in. Okay, take a look at the atrial arrhythmias again, the tracings. So you should be able to visualize these and at least know the distinct criteria that sets them apart. Here's some examples here. Okay, so make sure you know what these are. Probably going to see it on the final. Okay, conceptually, do a little bit of deeper digging into the complications from AFib and aflutter and basically why we treat it, right? So I'll give you a little hint. The two issues are going to be stroke and heart failure. So make sure you understand why that is. Why does AFib put your patient at risk for stroke and heart failure? What exactly is going on in the heart that can lead to stroke and heart failure? Okay, and in that, make sure you know the most common treatments and practices for mitigating that risk. Okay. Do a little review on the different blocks, first, second, and third. Make sure you know which one is the dangerous one, okay? That's really the main issue, is that you can identify that one on a tracing and alert a provider immediately if you see it on your patient, okay? Do some review of the ventricular arrhythmias. Make sure you can visually identify them. Okay. Definitely know the types of PVCs. Okay, you definitely want to know what the 5 different types are and how they are different. At least in definition. I don't think I'm gonna, you're not expected to be able to look at a tracing and visually identify these, because some of these can be tricky to see. But at least if your patient tells you, I have bigeminal PVCs, you need to know what that is, right? Review the elevation or depression in the ST. Okay, so that'll go back to above where we were talking about what's happening mechanically in the heart during the segments, specifically ST, and why that can be so important for your patient if there's problems there. Okay, so you should be able to visually identify some ST elevation or depression on your rhythm strip, because again, that's another huge cause for concern urgently for your patient. Okay, what does that mean? What are we worried about if we see that? Please make sure you know the difference between a heart attack and cardiac arrest, okay? Because they're 2 really different things, and know specifically what they are. Okay, and then just the basic principles of CPR, right? Why we do it, what's the point in relating to cardiopulmonary resuscitation, right? So I'm not talking about breaths, okay? I'm not talking about the respiratory component. Principles of hands-only CPR, and why do we do that? What's the point? And when would we do that? When would you be administering an EKG on your patient, and you might see a rhythm like this, and then you might have to perform CPR on that patient, right? So just kind of put it all together into one really clinically applicable idea for me, okay? Okay, if you answer all these questions and work your way through this review and look at the YouTube videos and do the Kahoots, you're going to be solid. I recommend that you work through these in chunks of time, no more than an hour at a time, I would say, because our brains just do better, kind of taking things in small amounts and little bits and then building on them. So I definitely don't recommend trying to get this all done Sunday night. Don't start on this at 10 p.m., please, on Sunday night. Start on it now, today. Hopefully you already started on it. And then just spend a little bit of time here and there between now and Monday when you come in to take your exam. And please let us know if you want to come in like in the morning or in the afternoon to take your exam. We're pretty flexible. That's pretty much the only thing on our agenda for the day, I think. I don't know. I'll check with Ashley and Ori. But just let us know, because we can be flexible about that exam time. We could all take it together, really, honestly, if you guys want to. So let us know and let me know if you have any questions. And I will see you on Monday. Happy studying.